Hi, welcome to today's video. My name is Paul. So this week I'm going to do some loose abstract watercolor landscape painting and just briefly talk about what I'm trying to do with these paintings at the moment and what sort of direction I want to take them in. So one of the things I've been thinking about recently is the idea of control versus chaos. So some artists go for tight, controlled painting styles. And then there are people like me who don't do that. And as you can see, it's more, I embrace the chaos more than the control. So quite literally just splattering paint and water onto the paper, sprinkling salt onto the paper, using a few different brushes. So at the moment I'm using one of those Japanese hake style brushes, or hake brushes if you prefer. I also use, again, an Asian calligraphy style brush, as well as a more Western watercolor mop style brush. The different brushes, usually I only use the one brush, but the different brushes are just trying to create different marks. Same with the salt and the scratching the paper, using tissue paper or Kleenex, whatever you want to call it, to lift off some of the paint. It's just trying to create some texture, and that's what I'm working on at the moment. A couple of videos ago I talked about using mixed media, so once the watercolor is dry, putting down some charcoal or soft pastel. Again, it's to create interesting marks and some texture. As I said, some artists go for tight control. And some artists go for the chaos. It was either Whistler or Sargent, I can't remember which one, but one of them was saying that an artist should be able to scrape off all of the painting that they've just done and reproduce it precisely. So he was talking about, not as a way of painting, but in terms of control. The artist should be in so much control that they can reproduce exactly what they did before. Then there are other artists like Francis Bacon, for example. I'm not a big fan of his artwork. I find it a bit terrifying and a bit disturbing. But he was talking about the importance of chaos in his creative process. And if you've ever seen photographs of his studio where he worked, you can see what he's talking about. To describe it as chaotic would be an understatement. I think it all comes down to personality. So this sort of loose style of painting, I do this because I don't really have a choice. I couldn't do the tight, controlled approach to painting. I lack the skills to do that, but also I just would not have the patience to sit down and paint in that way. And I don't enjoy painting that way. I don't enjoy the final results. It's not my preferred sort of aesthetic, that naturalistic or even photorealistic or hyperrealistic approach to painting. Just, it doesn't do it for me. I'm more of a Jackson Pollock type of person. If I had the money and I was going to buy a famous painting, it would be probably a Jackson Pollock or a Van Gogh painting rather than, a sort of photorealistic landscape. It's all just subjective opinion and personal preferences. But in terms of painting, I choose this style because it fits in with my personality, and I enjoy the chaoticness, if that's a word, of the whole process. I don't really like the control. There's a tiny little bit of control, but most of it is just chaos. I don't really know how the painting's going to turn out, and that's part of the fun of painting as well for me. Anyway, if you're like me and you like a bit of chaos in your art style, some people will try and put that down, try and say that you just lack talent and so on. That's just their opinion. Don't listen to them. Do your own thing. Don't be afraid to embrace the chaos a little bit. You made it this far in the video. Thank you for watching and listening, and hopefully see you again in next week's video.